Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my brother Eric.
What's up everybody? We are here with the penultimate episode of season 4. We are chapter 8, episode 8, which is Papa. Simple title.
Yes.
Not so simple episode.
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
This is a good time, I think, to bring up what we were talking about before when you mentioned, that there are no long episodes after last week. I feel like we may need to have a recant as we look forward to next week's 2.5 hour episode.
I know. I don't know if I said that on the recording
I think you might have.
If that was just our conversation. I was like, either way, I remembered saying it. I'm thinking, oh yeah, looking at next week, it's over 2 hours long. So because we love to really get into detail about these episodes, we are deciding to split up the final episode of season 4. So chapter 9, we're going to do in 2 separate releases. So expect the first part of that release next week, and then the final half of chapter 9 the following week. So we don't feel like we're kind of, putting too much into one episode. We can really enjoy it and really take our time going through all the fun details, because I have no doubt that it is going to be an amazing episode. This whole season has been so good.
It's easily my favorite. I mean, hands down. This is no question my favorite season by a long, long way. And that is including season 5, which everybody always has very, passionate opinions about a final season of any show.
Yes. Sure.
So there were certainly wild swings with people's opinions, I know, on season 5, but season 4 is chef's kiss.
I mean, I have to say, listen, we picked this series to talk about for a reason. Obviously, we're both big fans, and there really hasn't been a season that really disappoints. I mean, we've talked about weak episodes or weaker moments here or there, but as a whole, everyone is great. Like, the cast is great. The plot line is awesome. Like, it really, and doing it as a rewatch really makes us think of it in a different way, I feel like, too. So it's just been a lot of fun to go through. Yeah. And just as a reminder of where we left things off last week, trapped in the Upside Down, we had Steve, Nancy, Robin, and Eddie sending an SOS signal to Dustin and the others in Hawkins. And as they each made their way through the gate in Eddie's house, Vecna latched on to Nancy. We also had Hopper fending off the Demogorgon just as Joyce and Murray arrived and provided him with an exit. And also through Eleven's traumatic memories, we learned that 001 actually is Henry Creel. And she banished him into the Upside Down after he massacred everyone, including the children in the lab. And then we really saw how Eleven's powers are heightened when fueled by light and love and the good stuff, as opposed to the anger and fear that she was originally encouraged to use to bring out her powers. So, it was a really, really cool episode. I feel like it gave a lot more insight into Eleven's character and the whole storyline. I mean, we talked about how it was kind of a movie in and of itself. So, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And we start this episode, chapter 8, with Nancy and Vecna, but we are actually going to start our podcast just talking about the Hopper storyline first, largely because it's pretty compartmentalized and the rest of the storylines all start to connect a little bit more closely in this episode. So we're going to start with Hopper, which is the scene that we get right after the opening credits, where we see that there is a Demogorgon still loose in the pit with the doors closed around it, trying to figure out how to escape. And we are hearing these guards yelling in Russian, going over radios, trying to get the doors open, get the power back on. And Murray is sitting there with a radio to his captured Russian guard, telling the guard, hey, you tell him that you're trying to get it back on. Like he's trying to convince him that his life is on the line and he's got to start lying to this guard just to buy them a few more minutes. And while he's doing that, Enzo is also trying to find a way out, talking to another guard, trying to find a way through because they didn't come this far just to get to here. And while all this chaos is happening, Joyce is peacefully bandaging Hopper in the corner while she is, basically reconnecting with him, and Hopper is talking with her, and they're talking about all the things that have gone on. They're, surprised that Hopper is alive, and they're happy that he's back in the fold. And he asks about Elle, and she says, well, she misses her dad, and we all do. To give him that sense of, no, you wouldn't have been just forgotten. We all have missed you. The whole town has missed you. Like, we're so glad that you're back. Then we flip back to the outside, and the Demogorgon has figured out how to climb out of the pit. And the Russian guards who are looking down and now looking face to face on it are in a little bit of a frantic moment where their commander is telling them, don't shoot at it. And of course, it opens its flower petal face and they just open fire and they're all just wasted at that point, taken away by the Demogorgon. Meanwhile, while that gunfire is going on, back on the inside, they're hearing screams from behind this other door. And they're realizing they've got a second one trapped in here. And so they go up, open this door up, and there is a Demogorgon strapped to a gurney. And you can tell, that hive mind that we've talked about for seasons at this point, as the one is taking bullets on the other side, this one is feeling all that pain. And it is squirming and screeching and squealing, and Hopper just kind of walks up to it with a pistol and shoots it right in the face, and it dies on the spot, which I find a little weird. And maybe we can double back and mention that because the bullets don't work on the outside, but apparently they work here. So Hopper takes care of the one, and they realize that behind this little curtain that they've got there are tanks of Demogorgon that are being just grown in this point, and they are trying to make an army of them. And then they've got this big double glass door, like one set of glass doors, another set of locked doors, and behind that, you just see this black swirling smoke. And I write in my notes, did they catch the piece of the mind flayer? Is that what we're looking at here? Because it's what it looks like to me. That swirling smoke that came out of Will and went up into the atmosphere, and it appears as though they've snagged it and have it behind glass.
That's what that looked like to me too. I mean, that's exactly what that looked. I mean, is that a piece of the mind? I guess I was thinking it's almost like those particles from the Upside Down, like they've somehow contained the essence of the Upside Down in this laboratory. I don't know. It was very strange.
See, to me, all the times we see this smoke billowing through, it always seems to be an extension of the mind flayer.
You're right.
And it felt in season 2 when they got it out of Will with all the heat, that it went up into the sky and just busted. And then in season 3, it was kind of it never got back on the other side. So it feels as though they've captured a section of this mind flayer and are holding it behind glass. While they're staring at this, Enzo finds a sewer grate. He's like, hey, I think we got something here. And of course, the running joke with Enzo and Hopper is well, what are the odds we got? And he's like, I give it 100 to 1. And they all just drop into the sewer and march for, I'm going to say at least hundreds of yards. because when they pop out on the other side, they are outside the prison walls, but not outside the whole gate that they came through. And so they are able to get out. They can look back at the prison, see that they are well outside of that. And they, off camera, make their way back to the van that they drove in and just floor it through that exterior gate that Murray had to sneak his way through at the beginning. And while they're in the car, while they're in this van, I guess, discussing what they're going to do, there's a whole discussion with Yuri about, hey, listen, that plane crashed, but Yuri, can you find us another one? And of course, now Yuri, being Yuri, is attempting to negotiate for extra money or things. And there's a lot of threats that go on here. Hopper makes a lot of threats. And then it seems like Enzo, the fellow Russian, makes the biggest threats to make this actually happen. And so right. Yuri is able to get them to this, I called it a partial chopper. They found another plane. He had a helicopter that was Katinka? Not fully done. Yes, he called it Katinka. And he just says, it needs a little tune-up. And I'm looking going, it doesn't have propellers. Like, that's more than a little tune-up. So this is when Joyce is saying, well, what about Owens? Maybe we can get in touch with Owens and he can get somebody out. He's got to have contacts that can help us out here. And so as a future scene rolls up, Enzo is on the phone. He is giving the phone number that Joyce has for Owens to somebody else. And he's like, this is how it works. You give me the phone number. I give them the phone number. They make the call. We get a call back. And they're like, well, how long does it take? He's like, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months. You don't know. But when they do call back, you better talk in code because they are going to assume the KGB is on the line listening in. He's like, welcome to Russia. That's how it works. Yeah. Welcome to the Soviet Union, right, at this point in time. So that's how this storyline kind of wraps. Are there any points you want to jump back to? Maybe shooting one Demogorgon and not the other? I don't know.
Well, yeah, so I guess I was sort of taken aback by their surprise that the Demogorgon could, like, climb out of the yard. I'm thinking...
We've seen this, right? We've seen them jump very high.
We've seen them, like scaling things. And,
it can get in and out of a pool. Like, what are we talking about here?
Quite easily. And this thing is giant. Like, I don't know. So that was odd. And then, so to me, Eric, it's interesting, your interpretation of that they were building an army, which is, I mean, I just saw it as they were experimenting on them. I wasn't seeing it that way, but that's very
it could be,
likely.
but like usually, like I feel like that is reminiscent of other sci-fi movies that I've seen before, where they could be holding them for research, but being that they're using them as killing machines in this prison, I kind of feel like they're trying to train them. And listen, this is still Cold War. Like, they're all trying to figure out how to get a leg up on the other. I wouldn't be stunned if the idea was, hey, this is a like superior army that we can build with these things.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be surprised either. I think obviously their biggest challenge would be learning how to control these things.
Yeah, they can't.
No, but it's, I mean, I actually almost felt bad for the one that was strapped down, and I felt like Hopper kind of like put it out of its misery, because these are only really like, as we were hearing Dustin describe his interpretation of how the kind of the hierarchy goes, is they're just the foot soldiers. Like, they really don't have a mind of their own, so they're kind of just at the, you know, the whim of the mind flayer, really. But my thought when Hopper just busts into this room is, you're damn lucky that this thing was strapped down. Like, who hears that screaming and is just like busting into the room? I'm like,
kicks the door open with a single pistol. I'm like, what are you doing?
My God. right, his little pistol, like, and the fact that he could just shoot it in the head.
One
I had
shot.
the same exact thought.
I'm like, what? They have AK-47s outside, like 5 of them pointed at this thing. Now, if you're going to tell me that it's like video game style and like, well, if you shoot it right in the mouth, it's a weak point. And so like when it screeches, if you like reach this pistol in there and hit it once, it's like super bonus like points. That's about it. That's the only explanation I got on that. Otherwise, I don't know how that happens.
Had that exact thought. I'm like, is this just like Zelda style, or is like whipping, like chucking the arrow
like
right into
one
his
hit
mouth,
point for
like
everywhere else, but 100 if you hit this diamond? Yeah, exactly.
At least he should have had to shoot him 3 times if that was the case. But all right, it's
either way.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, it was interesting to see. I mean, they still have a long way to go, and now they're at the whim of Yuri, who obviously cannot be trusted. So I don't know. I do not think that Katinka is going to get them all the way home.
Well, he kept saying like, well, she'll get us to the coast, and then we can like fix her up and refuel again, and then she'll get over the water. And they're like, well, how far has she flown for you? He's like, oh, I've never flown her.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wow. And oh my gosh, my memory is awful. I really do not remember how they escape. Like, I don't recall those details. I don't know if you do, but.
I do think I remember, like, seeing this now, I feel like I remember something, but I don't want to be wrong. Okay. So I'm not 100% sure. That's for sure. So we have this whole section of the story, which is kind of at this point just its own isolated subplot, because the rest of these are all going to start clicking together. And this next spot with Nancy that we're going to talk about is really important. I don't know if you want to talk about that, then pause real quick and then keep going with it, because I feel like that's worth commenting on.
You mean the Hawkins Group?
The pre-credit Hawkins Group
I have
stuff.
that kind of all, I have that sort of all wrapped together.
Okay.
So we had started out with Nancy witnessing 001, also Henry Creel, also Vecna, as we hear Robin discuss later on. 001/Henry Creel /Vecna.
And they all, like, what are we going to call him? And they all said different things. It's like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Either way, so Nancy's witnessing him get his tattoo by Papa, the 001 on his wrist, but Papa can see her because it's not really Papa, it's Vecna. And because we remember Nancy is still in this limbo because Vecna has her mind, right? And so Nancy is in the lab and all the lights are flashing, and Vecna, you just hear his voice saying, "Don't go, Nancy. I want to show you where I'm going because you've seen where I've been. I want to show you where I'm going to go next." And Nancy is fully in this nightmare, and she sees Papa saying, "Take a seat." And now she is strapped down by all these like tentacles holding her down in this chair. And Vecna is approaching, and he does the whole like hand with the long crazy fingers over her face, and he's just saying, "I have a message for 11." And he wants her to tell 11 everything that she's seen, and she's screaming no, because we're not, as viewers, seeing what Nancy's seeing. You get kind of these like quick blips and flashes, but then she just wakes up in Steve's arms. And that's all before the credits. And so now we know at least Nancy has been allowed to go back. We don't have her body floating up into the air and her limbs snapping, because he very well could have done that. But his whole purpose of grabbing onto Nancy was to use her as a vessel to convey this message, right? We did also have the gang trying to find music for Nancy. Yes.
And of course they're at Eddie's, so they're finding all these like hard rock tapes and stuff like that. And she's like, Robin's like, "Don't you have any real music like Madonna or Bowie or whoever?" And he's like, "This is real music." And they're like, the dichotomy between arguing over what is real music versus trying to get Nancy out of the Vecna's like grasp is crazy.
Listen, if it has to be music that she loves, because that's how it worked for Max, I think that they're gonna need to find something outside of Eddie's collection, most likely. I don't know. I don't know. Nancy has gotten pretty hardcore though too, so she could be very into the same things. But then when she's coming out of this trance, so then they're all together, they've dropped down through the portal, and so Steve and Nancy are with them. I don't think we really didn't see that piece. I liked watching how they each climbed out, but that was left out. And Nancy is now telling the others what Vecna showed her. And, in summary, she's describing the end of Hawkins, like her mom and the rest of her family being killed. And Steve is trying to tell her, like, listen, calm down. It's not real. He's just trying to scare you. But then she's mentioning the gates that he showed her. And she's like, listen, this doesn't seem like the Upside Down at all. It's our home. It's here. And Max, is talking about the 4 chimes on the clock, the 4 kills, the 4 gates. And Lucas is kind of jumping in and he's like, that's the end of the world. And so he only has 1 kill left. And Max is trying to then reach Mike and they cannot get through. And Dustin's kind of like, listen, Joyce has the job or she's always on the phone all the time. Mike's talking about how annoying it is. Like, that must be all it is. They're trying to, stay calm here, but it's like, this is still a long time. They know that something else is up. And meanwhile, while you're seeing this, you're also seeing Elle like listening in on their conversation, which we'll get more into Elle's storyline later on. But I just want to mention that because it's just woven in to this part of the story that she's listening to this conversation. Yes.
It's also worth noting that Nancy is claiming that this is not the Upside Down Hawkins. This is our Hawkins. This is the right side up Hawkins, and so seeing that was terrifying for her.
Yes, right. And because it was when she saw the gates, and that was kind of when they got into the conversation about the 4 gates, 4 kills, because it's like, why would you see the gates if they were in just the actual Upside Down? They were seeing them as they witnessed them from home.
Yeah.
So they knew that that's where these visions were. So Nancy's like, listen, let's go. Like, I'm ready to like load up my weapons and go kill Vecna. And Dustin is thinking, yeah, well, listen, he is defenseless when he's in his trance. Like, we know how 11 gets, like she also, they're kind of similar in that way. When she has to connect with the other side, her actual body is defenseless. And so let's take him out when he's in that state. And Steve is kind of like, guys, I don't know about this. And, except the whole like army of bats dude, like, and yeah, he's thinking this isn't a great idea. But Max is like, I know how to get to him. And I want to use, I don't think she uses this word, but essentially she wants to use herself as bait. And 11 is, like I said, she's looking in on this from that black space, and she's looking very concerned with this plan. And I am too. Like, this does not seem like a great idea for Max to use herself as bait. But I also, it's like she knows that this is their chance to take him out. And she knows how to get back. So she feels very confident that when she's in that state, you guys can just bring me back like you did last time.
Yeah, she knows that she has escaped this before, and she knows that she can do it again. And
hopefully,
she said that she feels as though she's been marked, and she can still feel Vecna. So that's all part of it.
Right. And Eddie knows of a place that they can go to get weapons outside of Hawkins, the War Zone store. So,
right on
totally
the nose.
Innocent sounding. Yeah. Yeah. And love how, so Eddie's like, well, I have to disguise myself. And I'm thinking, you know what? they all really should have put on some type of disguise because I mean it's like they're all at risk here. But Eddie, I love how they busted out the Max's Michael Myers mask, and
I mean,
that was great.
What a choice, right? Like, how do you hide from being seen as a murderer? You get a serial killer's mask and put it on, like from a horror movie. There you go.
Yeah. And they get into this RV and they are, trying to steal it because Eddie's saying, listen, my dad wasn't playing catch with me. He was teaching me how to hotwire cars. So I'm using my skills here and I'm starting the sucker up. But Harrington, you're going to drive her, big boy. And he pats him on the back, and then Steve gets in the driver's seat, and they peel out of this place. Eric, people were camping under this thing. I mean, they literally had a little canopy. Like, these poor people were just like knocked over in their chairs. I'm like, oh, good God.
I wrote like stole right from under their noses. Like, they got in the back window somehow. The door was locked from the inside because these people like clearly own this, and they're just sitting outside, and all of a sudden the entire house drives away. And it's like, that is crazy.
That's pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah. Steve's like, because Eddie was kind of like, well, it's not mine, but I know who it belongs to. And I just have to say, the vehicles that these kids choose throughout these episodes, not subtle. They are, because we have Argyle and his,
they're trying to, hide in a surfer boy van. Like, oh my gosh. It's just not exactly the smoothest choices.
No, but it definitely, it adds to the comedy of it.
So they had the Todd father in the last one, the sports car that they were driving around. Like,
it's also just practical when you think about it, because now they're going to have all these weapons. You have this big group of kids that keeps growing. You keep adding more people to this group. I mean, you kind of need a large vehicle here. So, then we're in this scene, and I have to say, we've gotten away from some of like the music references, like the soundtrack. And this episode, we kind of got back to it. Like, we have James Taylor's Fire and Rain playing here, where Steve and Nancy are talking, and they're kind of having this cute moment. And it's like, it just adds to that, just the sentimental, sentimentality of it all. So,
I think this season also gets just dominated by Kate Bush. So like there's a lot less music choices. And in Stranger Things, I feel like we've said this, as the season goes on, the music is less because the music is more like
the action
based, and earlier on there's a little bit more storytelling or setting things up, and you get a lot more 80s vibes going on there.
Yeah. Well, now you have Steve telling Nancy that he's always dreamed of having 5 or 6 kids running around, and they would see the whole country in an RV just like this one. I'm like, oh, Steve's now laying it on thick. And I have to say, Nancy is like looking all like doe-eyed at him. Like, oh, Steve, really? Like, she didn't say that.
But she kind of like drops back at the 6 kids mention. She's like, whoa.
Well, okay. Yeah, Steve, let's relax here. And can you actually imagine Steve? I mean, he's looking back. He's like, yeah, I've had tons of practice. It's like, Steve, really? Like, you keep going back to that. These kids are like 2 years younger than you.
Listen, do you or do you not want to be the babysitter? You either are or you aren't. You go back and forth. Right. You can't play both sides, Steve.
Steve, right. You can't keep complaining about it if then you say, I want 5 or 6 kids. I mean, okay.
What are we doing?
It's funny. Oh, gosh, Steve. This is a funny moment. But then we also have Lucas and Max, talking about her plan, right? Because Lucas is obviously very concerned about this. And I am too, honestly. And she's telling him, trying to reassure him, saying she will run into the light and hide there. And saying, there is, I do have my happiest moments to hold on to. And that's when Lucas is like, oh, am I in those happy moments? Just asking for a friend. And she's like, well, yes, you are. You are in those memories, and it's, it's a sweet moment. And Lucas is saying, listen, if you start to fly into the sky, I will strap the Kate Bush music on and we will take care of you. So it's like, he's trying to really, I guess, assured a bit. I think her pointing out that she has these really solid, happy memories to cling on to is giving him more hope, because I think he's thinking, oh, her thoughts are all darkness. Like, she's just an emo kid. Like, she's never going to be able to climb out of this. But she's like, listen, you have given me all of these happy moments. And I think that's, just giving him a bit more reassurance. And this is their best chance, is sort of how she's framing it. Erica, looked like you were going to say something.
Yeah, well, I was debating about whether I wanted to wait until this whole, because this is a long section.
It is, yeah.
I will say this. I would typically kill this, like, if it was Mike saying it. But it's not. It's Lucas saying it. You know what I mean? Like, if Mike was being like, am I part of that? I'd be like, Mike, dude, it's not the time. What are you doing? But Lucas says it, and I'm like, that's fine, Lucas, you're good.
It's all right, Lucas. He has more of a way. He just, as we were saying in the last episode, it's like, Lucas definitely has a higher EQ, emotional intelligence, than the rest of the group at this point, it seems.
I think he doesn't do it often either, because what we're seeing here is subtly, to the amount of subtle that he can do, he's clearly trying to, like, get back, now that Max is kind of acting like herself again a little bit, maybe get back in her good graces, so when this is all over, maybe he can ask her out again and they can get back together. That's the hope, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we see Mike doing this on a fairly regular basis, and we see Mike acting like a jerk in front of Hopper for a couple of episodes. And it's like, Mike, chill. But Lucas, we haven't really seen this from him. Even when him and Max started dating, it wasn't like, it wasn't like that. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, they have more of just that friendship core, I feel like. And it's more about, like, really, I feel like he just truly loves Max. I mean, and he just really wants this to the best for her. Yeah. And he's just truly concerned about her well-being.
Well, because he was trying to come up with an additional plan. Like, hey, listen, maybe there's somebody else that's been, like, having nosebleeds that could also be a target to Vecna.
Right.
And she's like, listen, I'm the only one that's going to be able to get out of this thing. Like, we all know this.
I know the way out.
We're just setting somebody up to die if we go find somebody else.
That's a great, yes. Yeah, I did not mention that line. That was such a great point. It's like she knows the way in. She knows what she's doing. I mean, this group of kids, they can't just ask some random person to subject themselves. It would not be helpful in the end. But then we move into the Warzone store where the kids go shopping. And Eric, I have to say,
the whole town is there.
Literally the whole freaking town is at the Warzone store.
They're there.
And a lot of children.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids.
And they're all there looking for them. And they just walk in. Like, has anybody got that picture that was passed out by Jason? Like, come on.
Okay. And the Molly Ringwald chick is there, like, hanging out, like, kissing a guy. I'm like, what is going on? Like, that girl is here? I don't know. This is just, it's a lot. What was she doing there? What was she doing there? She was just making out with some guy. It was weird.
Don't know. Don't know. I mean, I understand there being a lot of people there because of the whole thing and, like, trying to track down these kids and save the town. Like, I get that. Why is she there? And I forget Molly Ringwald's name. I don't remember her name.
Did I have it? I do not have that written down.
No, Robin's love interest from the band.
Yeah, Robin's band friend, which is what this girl says she spots Robin staring at her, kissing this guy, and then Robin slinks off. Well, it doesn't really. She bolts after. Yeah, she bolts.
She's not slinking off anywhere. She's out.
Yeah, there was nothing. No subtlety about this.
None.
No, and you just feel bad. It was very awkward. And this girl totally knows. I mean, you could tell her eyes got all watery too. And the guy even said something like, see, it's not that awkward. I'm like, okay, that is weird. Like, meaning like she's probably been resisting wanting to kiss him is how that could be interpreted. And yeah, dude, she's just not into you, but she's trying to play a part here. And here we are. But
here we are.
Steve is trying to reassure her also. But before we get there, we also have Jason spotting Nancy, as Nancy is holding a shotgun. And he's asking her about Mike. Where's Mike? And where's the rest of his friends? And he suspects they're all here with her, but she's denying it and kind of, trying to step back from him. He's pointing out, hey, that shotgun, it sure is powerful, but it's not very accurate. And, she is just really trying to remain cool. And I mean, they are in a store full of people. So there was that, but it was a miracle that no one else there spotted them. I mean, Erica is also sort of
Erica seemed to be
away.
She's in a triangle of all of them. How she got out of there, I have no idea.
They all managed to just run out of there, get back to the RV, and peel out because they're like, your friends are here, Eddie. Because luckily Eddie didn't go in. I'm like, did that kid go in?
No, neither did Dustin. Happening? Neither did Dustin.
No, so they stayed in the RV.
And Lucas didn't go in either. Right. So the ones that they knew were part of Hellfire, they stayed inside. They did not go in.
Yes,
but
they did have that wherewithal. But
Erica should have been on the hot seat for sure. And as far as Nancy, I don't know why Nancy didn't just say he's in California. He's not even here. He's out of town. Honest response. And is Jason going to go track him down? No, he's not.
Right. So then they peel out of the war zone parking lot. And Jason is looking awful suspicious at the RV. And so now it's now he knows what they're driving. And obviously is onto them. But that is the last that we see of Jason in this episode. But then we move into the scene where Nancy is just casually sawing off a shotgun, as you do. Because,
as one does.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jason kind of gave her some advice there. And she's like, yeah, we got to make this thing more, I guess, more likely to hit whatever you're just pointing it at. So she's trying to saw off the shotgun, and Max is sort of like, isn't that illegal? She's like, yeah, it's a felon, but we're going to just go ahead and do it. It's like, hey, you know what? You're fighting demons from the upside down, so I go for it.
No knees are off the table at this point.
Yeah. Then we have Eddie making a shield with some nails in it, and he and Dustin have this really cute bro moment where Eddie makes extremely intense eye contact with him and tells him to never change. I mean, Eddie, I feel like only Eddie could deliver that and it's not cringy. I feel like in this moment, I might have with the wrong actor or just the wrong combination of characters, I'd be like, I don't know. It would just maybe be too intense, or you just want to back away because it's calm down. But Eddie just is very poetic in the way that he says things. He's very sincere, and you can just tell he is being real with him. He is concerned. I think he really sees Dustin as being his brother, similar to how Steve does. And he's just telling him, promise me you never change, because Dustin was trying to make little puns and jokes and just sort of lighten the mood, I think. And yeah, it was just a really nice moment. And you just see how much Eddie cares about him in this scene.
Yeah, it's just, it's really nice to see. And I do in the very next moment here, we have another group talking, and one of them says the line, we're mad fools, the lot of us, but if we don't stop them, who will? And they have
That's Robin to Steve, right?
Yeah, and they have this whole view of the Sinclairs and their spears, and Eddie and Dustin and battling with their shields, and Nancy with her shotgun, and they're all jumping around in a field almost like a scene out of Monty Python or something. And it's yeah, look at this group of idiots, but yet They're the only ones who have any chance because they're the only ones who actually know what's going on here.
Yeah. And Eric, I just looked that up really quick because I was thinking, like, the way that she said that, it almost sounded like a line from something else. Like it was like Shakespeare or something. I don't know, but I'm not seeing that referenced anywhere else. But I did like that line a lot.
I really did too. And it really was connected to the visual of them like jumping around in a field like a bunch of morons.
Yeah.
Like they were all like play fighting. And it's like, this is the group that's going to save the world. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And we also have Erica and Lucas with their weapons where she's trying to, she almost seems like his big sister in some ways, or she just tries to be. I don't know. It's a funny relationship that they have, but she's sort of she's razzing him, giving him a hard time, but also like, you know, he points out, listen, you've been to all of my basketball games.
Yeah.
I see you like hanging out. Like, I know that you care. And she's like, yeah, whatever, man. Like trying to, so that's why I don't.
He was trying to pin her down on it and she wouldn't take the bait, but yet he knows and she knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unspoken.
That's
they
right.
Obviously love each other. Yeah. And so, then we also have the moment where Robin and Steve are making Molotov cocktails, and cheersing to killing Henry /Vecna/1. But yeah, so they're preparing the best they can, and that is the last we see of the Hawkins Group until the very end. Well, then we'll kind of tie off with them.
Where they get dropped off?
Then we tie the very end of the episode.
Okay.
Yeah, at the Creel house, but we will kind of like end with that because that is the very final scene of this episode. So we'll kind of tie back to.
There are some overlays here, so we'll get back to that.
Right.
Well, now we're going to jump into our section here with our California crew, our boys who we're now picking back up because we missed out on this group for the entire last episode. And what have Will and Mike and Argyle and Jonathan been doing? Well, apparently driving through the night. And they are hoofing it through Nevada, getting close, looking for that longitude and latitude that Susie gave them for where Nina might be. And Jonathan is looking like he has driven through the night. Like he is rubbing his eyes. He is barely staying awake. And meanwhile, we get this scene in the back of the van where Will and Mike are talking. And Will is trying to say something to Mike about, hey, listen, when this is all over, we can just hang out. We're just going to go play D&D and Nintendo forever and just call it a day. And Mike is a little bit more concerned, but he's less concerned about the whole battle or the whole thing going on. He is more concerned that Elle's going to realize that she doesn't need him anymore. And he draws the parallels of himself to Lois Lane. And he says, one day she's going to wake up and realize that Superman just landed on this nerdy kid's doorstep. Like at least Lois Lane was an ace reporter for the, whatever it was, the New York something. I forget the newspaper. No, how bad is that? Anyway, she was an ace reporter for the thing, the Globe. I think it was some sort of Globe. Anyway, we move forward. What's he? He's just some nerd, right?
The Daily Planet.
Thank you. The Daily Planet. I was like, it's a planet, it's a globe, it's something. Thank you. Okay. So Mike is going through all this, and Will says, hey, let me show you something. And he's got the thing that he had at the airport when Mike showed up in the first episode that he never gave him. And Mike opens it up, and it is a painting that Will has done of this giant dragon and their whole D&D party with Mike at the lead, guiding the party with a shield that has a heart on it, because heart is what holds the entire party together. And Elle has helped kind of commission this and come up with some of the ideas, but Will is the one who made the whole thing. And essentially, Mike loves it and is still, though, concerned that one day she's just going to not want it. And I wrote down this whole quote, so I'm going to do the best I can. But this is now Will talking to Mike, and he says, "These past few months, she's been so lost without you. She's so different from the other people. When you're different, sometimes you feel like it's a mistake, but you make her feel like she's not a mistake at all, like she's better off for being different, and that gives her the courage to fight on. If she was mean to you, or if she seemed like she was pushing you away, it's just because she's scared of losing you, just like you're scared of losing her. If she was going to lose you, I think she'd rather get it over with real quick and rip it off like a Band-Aid. So yeah, Elle needs you, Mike, and she always will." And this whole conversation is clearly Will talking to Mike about Elle, but about him.
Yeah.
And Jonathan is watching this through the rear view mirror. They don't cut to it once, they cut to it twice of Jonathan tracking this whole conversation. And
he knows.
He's in. And then, so Jonathan is in the know. Mike is not really picking it up, but is incredibly grateful for Will's passionate speech. And Will turns and looks out his side window and starts to cry. And Jonathan is also catching this information through his rearview mirror.
Yeah.
And so I'll pause here. Notes?
Yeah. So, I guess even the first time that Jonathan looked back into the rearview mirror is when he took out the painting, and when he was saying to him that 11 really commissioned him to do this, because I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think that was true at all.
He said that's how it went. There is definitely some area there for that to have been totally made up.
I think that this was just Will just painting from his heart and what he felt, but he wanted to link this back to really help Mike. I think that the way he framed that was really selfless, and that he was able to because honestly what he was saying was also true. So it did apply to Elle, but it also applied to himself. And so, but he was really wanting to help Mike in this moment. And I feel like this is really a redeeming moment for Will, because as I had pointed out in last season, at the roller skating rink, and it's that was earlier this season. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So much has happened. Oh my goodness. And earlier this season with the roller skating rink, it's he was being, I feel kind of making it about himself when 11 was having a hard time. And now it's I think he's sort of reframing this and realizing, this is not the moment, right?
Well, he's also had now a lot of time with Mike without 11 around. And I think that's the hardest part for Will, that when it's the three of them, Will feels like he's on the outs. And that's not really fair to Will, who has been Mike's best friend for years.
Yeah. But there's still that part of me that's Will, when he was we could just win the lottery and then play D&D and Nintendo forever.
Yeah,
I'm Will,
it's not a plan, man.
Let's calm down. That's not.
I forgot about a lot of this scene. And when he said that at first, I went, oh my God, Will, what are we doing?
Will.
And then, almost immediately he rallied, and I was like, whoa, this is Will's moment. This is huge. This is the best thing he's done. This scene, which is, I went back and forth to try to get it exactly. I don't even know how many times.
Yeah.
This was his best moment in the series to date. Yes. Find me a better one.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is about Will,
Yeah.
which they even comment on more in next season because we obviously have a massive redemption arc. And it's like, he really isn't like, he's not front and center in really any of the, like, he's more hiding and upset and just is more of like on the defense.
Well, in the first 2 seasons, he's like the
gone.
damsel in distress.
And and they're trying to save him, right? That is the whole plot line. And then we have Joyce, who is just like insanely overprotective of him, which does not help. So it's like he really doesn't have an opportunity to shine yet. And so, seeing this from him is good. Although, even the actor does say, because this scene with him crying out the window became like a meme. Like, this was just, you saw it nonstop of Will, like, just sobbing quietly, looking out the window. And even the actor, like, has sort of made fun of it and teased this moment a little bit. But it's, I think, what are you going to do? People are going to make memes out of really anything, I suppose. But
you can take you can take anything out of context and make it seem like it's one thing or the other thing. I found it to be awesome. He didn't need to turn and cry out the window to change. That didn't add to the depth of this, I don't think, at all. I mean, maybe a little, but just knowing what we know, knowing that he is not talking about Elle throughout this whole thing is the part that makes it super powerful. And the fact that Mike doesn't get it at all. He doesn't see it. But why would he see it?
Why would he? Right. No,
he wouldn't
it's
see
just
it.
Not on his radar
it's
at
not.
all. And that makes sense. Like, I don't know why he would. Right. It's yeah.
Well, to wrap up this section here with the California boys, we don't have a lot left, but we get to this point where they're driving and the boys are looking at a map and they're trying to explain, like, it's got to be around here. And Jonathan just slams on the brakes and says, okay, I'm stopping before we get ourselves even more lost. So they get out the map and they're drawing out like exactly the latitude and longitude, and Argyle starts just wandering off into the hillsides because why wouldn't he? And so he's doing that. And Jonathan tells him, hey, just look for a sign of life. And so meanwhile, they're in there mapping it out exactly, getting the rulers and their whole thing. And draw the longitude and latitude. Boom, right on the X, right where Mike and Will had put it. And they're like, look, this is the spot. We're here. And Argyle at this point yells back to the car. It's like, hey, get up here. And so they come up onto this like sand dune. And he's like, now, you said any signs of life. Well, these are big, wide tire tracks.
Fatties
is what he calls them. And he looks and that's when, and I forget, I think it was Jonathan, but it could have been Mike, who was like, military. One of them was like, drew the connection there.
Mike did. Yes.
That this is military. And so they're like, this is it. Let's go. And they get back in the van and they start heading down towards the tracks. And that's when we get this cut to the captain who had been torturing that one agent in the house. He is now riding with 4 Humvees and a chopper down through the desert ahead of the boys. These are the tracks that they're following. They're following these military tracks, and they're off to the races.
It was a very G.I. Joe moment. And yeah, Argyle was wandering off looking for a small woman named Nina.
He was yelling, Nina!
Oh Nina! My God.
I'm like, Argyle. Oh, come on, Argyle. But at the same time, they don't know. They don't know what they're like. They have no idea what the Nina Project is.
Hey, we thought Nina was going to be a person too. And then it's like, oh yeah, no, Nina's a tank. Why would you think that?
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Because of some opera singer, obviously.
Right. Obviously.
Didn't you get that reference? Come on.
And then we also, so then we're going to jump into the next storyline, which is all about 11.
This is the
Papa.
rest of it at this point.
Yes. Right. Because then we do have this moment where the storylines do converge between the California group and 11 as well, which is great. But to kick things off, this is also how the episode opens, where we have young 11 again staring at the closing up wall, right? Yeah. Is that
yeah, because this all happens because we're also getting the Nancy with Vecna stuff at the same time. So
moment before
this happens right before that, and then it's Nancy and Vecna, all kind of the same idea.
Pre-credit.
And then credits. And then we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because we have, little 11 staring at the closing up wall where Henry has been forced through. Remember, that's where she banished him. And this is where we have Papa saying that line again, "What have you done?" And you see the flash of all the dead bodies. So it's sort of just reinforcing where we left things off in the last episode.
Let's pause here, too, because we spent a lot of time last week talking about gate or not a gate, love gate, evil gate. This is not even, there's not even anything now. Now it's like perfectly smooth wall with a little crack running down it. So not a gate, not a gate at all.
So in this episode, though, we will get there, but Papa talks to her about how what she did opened a gate to the other side. So it wasn't that gate that she pushed Henry through. That seemed to seal itself right
That's
up.
what I'm saying.
Because that was the love gate.
Because that's the love gate. So that so what we're gonna say is 11 banishing 1 to the other side is not opening a gate, even though it did open a doorway to banish him through. But that's not a gate. But then when she opened the next one, then she opened the gate.
It sounds like from what Papa said is she banished him, but then that created a rift. It looked like it was either in the same building, just in like the basement is what it looked like to me, because you saw this moment where there's just these lab technicians scattering and the wall is just opening up. And that one looked more familiar to me. That's the one.
That's the one from the first episode, though.
Exactly.
From the first season.
But
but we're going to say that this first banishment now did not create a gate at all.
That did not. No, that was not the gate. That just sealed up.
I have questions about, but we're going to accept it and move forward.
Because he just kind of touched it and it was closed.
We're gonna consider it the love gate. This was made with love and kindness, so it was sealed. And not
her hatred reverberated.
And a gate was not created. It was the next one that was created with hate that stayed open and let all the demons in.
I guess so. So 11. So we see 11 being revived then, and Papa is asking her how she feels. And Dr. Owens is trying to talk to her too. They're both there, and she's able to get up and kind of walk around to the tank with her hand up, and that's when the lights start flashing. And she is just focusing on this tank, focusing on Nina, and up it goes. Seems so easy now. And she not only lifts it, but then she's able to lower it with complete control back to the ground. So Papa looks very proud of what he calls his daughter at this moment, and Dr. Owens looks a little terrified. He's kind of like, oh God, like, wow, this is a lot of power, because he has not seen her in action like this either. So this is I guess, has he witnessed 11, Dr. Owens? I feel like maybe I'm eating my own words now. Eric, has Dr. Owens actually seen 11's powers?
Has he seen them? He has to have. Yeah. Yes. He worked with her in the beginning of season 1, right? Wasn't he working with her? I mean, he was checking on Will. He was checking on Will.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's what I mean. I don't think he's actually witnessed her in action, because he was sort of like, oh God.
Has to know about it, Because
he knows about it. But
was he
obviously,
ever
that's the whole
present
reason
when
she's
she
there.
used them? Because I'm thinking at the season 2, when she comes in to close the gate, they pass by him in the stairwell.
Right. Oh yeah, but he's not.
But
there.
he's not there when she closes it.
Yeah, I don't think he's witnessed it. That's why he looked a little bit like, oh wow.
Maybe.
Well,
I think he's you know what he's probably done is he's probably seen it on footage, like seen tapes of it, but never
in
like
person,
never seen it in person. And so also for her to like lift up this tank, which is bolted to the ground. Not only is it ridiculously heavy, but it's bolted
full
down.
of water,
and
like
she just
steel,
puts out her hand, lifts it to the sky, and puts it down very calmly with full control. Like, she's ready.
Yeah. But then we're back with Papa, where this is where we see him touching the crack in that wall back in the past. So he's explaining to 11 in the current day, though, that her potential is all he ever dreamed of. And so now he knew he had to nurture her powers. And she opened up a doorway to another world that day too. And that's when you see, the wall splitting open somewhere else. So it looked to me like it was the lower level of that same lab. And that's how I interpreted that. Papa also knew that Henry was hiding in the darkness, and Dr. Owens this is where they're having this conversation where he's saying, to 11 that her friends are safe. And literally in the next sentence, Papa's like, yeah, but they're also in terrible danger though. And Henry is pissed and trying to break down the wall between his world and ours. And it's like, okay, so you have Dr. Owens trying to reassure her and Papa always sounding like super doom and gloom, still wearing his 3-piece suit. Just had to comment on that because I just find it hilarious that you never see him in anything but this like vest and, white shirt and these like slacks. It's funny. So 11's trying to make sense of all this. It's like looking back and forth between them. Like, who do I believe? Who am I going to trust here? But, Dr. Owens in a later scene is telling her that, when she saw her friends, I'm sorry. 11 is telling Dr. Owens that she saw her friends and they weren't safe, because this is where, as I mentioned earlier, she had gone into that black space and she was watching the conversation that Nancy was having with the other kids about what Vecna showed her. So like she is in on the know and she's trying to express like, hey, I got to get back there. They're not safe. And Papa again enters the room ominously and is still, again, as I said, in his suit and telling her that she needs to act rationally. And he's always using this what I'm finding to be a very condescending tone with 11. And he's kind of like, you need to do more than walk. You need to run. So this isn't enough yet. He needs her to fly, but she's just not ready. And it's like, did you just see what happened here? Like he's, I think, almost like a parent, like not ready to let go. And he's also just really trying to control and hold on. I think maybe partially out of fear, partially, I mean, all of this could be debated about how to really interpret Papa's actions and his decisions at this moment. But he's saying, sorry, you can't go. It's impossible. You're not ready. And Dr. Owens is like, listen, I'll take her to Hawkins. And he's all like, we agreed that this is not a prison. Yeah. And Papa said that himself, like, we're not keeping you here. This is your choice. But now he's kind of backtracking on that. And 11, though, is saying, I'm making the choice to go. And Owens is saying, pack up your stuff. We're going to get out of here. Say your goodbyes, and that's it.
And the debate is, Papa's really of the mindset that she's just not ready for it yet. And even though she thinks she is, she's not ready. She's not ready. Owens is of the mindset that, hold on. Thanks, bud. Hey, say hi to the people, Jack.
Hi, Auntie.
Say hi.
The house on.
Hi, people.
There's a house with your name on it.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Sorry. Dropping off a Starbucks, and apparently
Hey.
there's a house with your name on it.
All right, kids. Nice.
Hate to break it to him,
Excellent.
but it's an Airbnb now. But if you'd like to rent it, it's available. That being said, let's get back to this.
Love it.
Where Owen, Papa he's not ready for it, but at the same time, he's still the scientist. It's still his experiment. He knows that if she has her best chance, she still needs to practice. I believe that he believes that is true, and I think that he's probably right about that. That being said, Owens is bringing a more practical stance here, which is, listen, she might not be ready for it, but if we practice and practice and practice and practice in here, the world might be over and we never get to take a shot at it. So,
Yeah.
are we or are we not ready? Elle, it's your choice. And she's like,
I think
let's roll.
It's Papa that's not ready at this point, and he just is afraid, I guess, of what could possibly happen to her, but he's not doing her any favors at this point. And that's when then really the next scene with them, because I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. No, we see that's when we see that the Hummers and the helicopter in the desert. And we also see Dr. Owens, though, on the phone with his colleague. And then the line is cut because he's talking to that woman. I believe her name was Ellen. Yeah. Did you have another scene before that?
No. What was he talking to her about?
He was saying that he was mentioning Max's name. He said, "Hey, these kids are in danger. Do you know
Yes.
Max?" Oh, now I'm forgetting her last name, but he had her full
Mayfield.
name. Mayfield, thank you.
So
and he's saying Max Mayfield's house, and then the line cuts.
I'm
oh.
also wondering if on this phone call before the line cut,
Yep.
off camera, news got passed about Hopper. Because when else is he talking to anybody else on the other side? Because remember, Joyce and Hopper have tried to make a communication to Owens.
Oh, you think maybe there was they didn't show it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they show that?
I don't know, but it would show that he was on a phone call with somebody outside. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the only
Yeah,
thing. And so why wouldn't they show it? Surprise.
Yeah, that's a good point. He could have connected at some point, and we just don't know yet. Maybe they'll show that in the next episode.
Like I
if
said,
that's the
I'm not
case.
100% sure on what happens in the next episode when it comes to Hopper and his crew and how they do
yeah,
and don't
same.
get out of here.
Yeah,
But
right.
I do think
there
there
was a
is
phone
some
there.
sort of connection potentially
With-
here.
Yeah.
So we'll just put a dot on that and remember it next week.
Yeah. And I took that as, well, now her full name has been said over a phone line. I'm guessing the wrong person has also heard that.
For sure.
Yeah. And so, because then the line conveniently cuts right after that, and the troops march in, and we
But
see
now we got to be
11
specific here, though. These are not the troops that we saw in the military Humvees from before.
Right.
These are Papa's troops.
Well, right. Yeah, and we don't quite, this part isn't clear yet. It's you almost assume, at least in my mind, it's you almost assume this is just the U.S. military showing up to get 11. But no, this is actually Papa's troops. He is now behind he really wants to stop her. This is out of control. Because when 11 is going to leave but walks back to Nina, the door slams shut and Papa locks her in. And this is in my notes. I just have, wow, Papa is evil. We were trying to throw him a bone, and I went through a wave of emotions about Papa in this episode because I had moments where I'm oh my God, he's the worst. Then it's oh, you kind of understand. He's trying to be a protective dad. And then it's but he's not her dad. He's an evil scientist.
No,
so
I think he's trying to hide being the best scientist he can as being a father figure. And that's those two things do not cross.
No.
And so
you're not her dad. It's creepy when he says that too.
No,
like Papa and daughter.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not.
No, because he's just trying to get her to do things by associating that. Anyway.
You don't do this with someone that you actually love. No. And he calls the men in, and now he's saying that she'll be alone without Dr. Owens. So like, now you just have me pretty much and just trying to manipulate her, and she needs to complete her work with him first. So he's still trying to just, after all of this, still just holding on to that. I think a lot of this too is feeling guilty about what happened with Henry and really trying to overcorrect here, right? And because he tries to throw that back on her, but because he won't let her go back to Hawkins, she reminds him, though, of how he hurt her mother. And there's these flashbacks of her mom getting the electroshock therapy. And he's all like, it was for your own good. It was for her own good. Like, I'm just full of peace and love and trying to help everyone. And she's just like, why did you keep Henry in this lab with the kids if you were really just trying to keep us safe? Because he's clearly a weapon of himself. And he just felt like, well, he could control it. I've got it under control. Clearly he didn't. But he knows that he failed Henry. And so he's doing his best. And that's where I feel like he's overcorrecting here. He's trying to fix things where he went wrong with Henry. And that's why he's like extra holding on to his relationship with Elle. It seems like extra tightly. But now, he quickly turns on her and reminds her of how she's the one who let Henry out of his prison. The gate, the mind flayer, so many dead. It's all on her. So now he's like, I think trying to use some type of like guilt trip to get her to stay.
It's not going well for Papa at this point.
He's spiraling here. Yeah. And he can, and it's like,
this is grasping at straws at its best.
Yeah, but she turns to him and she's like, listen, I know now that I am not the monster and it's you. You're the monster. And I love that for 11. Because it's like, finally, it's like he was able to just manipulate her. Henry was able to manipulate her and just put all these thoughts into her head that were not true. And finally, through this experience, she is able to really see the truth and see what's going on here. And Papa starts crying and she's telling him that she will open the door if he does it. And she's going to leave with Dr. Owens anyway. And if he tries to stop her, she will kill him. And she flings the door open. But at that moment, he injects her with like a sedative right in the neck. And it's not powerful enough to knock her out on the spot. So she turns and like flings him against Nina and he's pinned there for a bit. But the sedative, it kicks in and she is knocked to the floor. She falls down and Papa falls down as well. But you can tell he's still alive. She did not take him out yet in that scene.
Didn't have the power for it.
No. And so 11's waking up to Papa putting a collar on her, just as he had with number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, I had things to say about Papa here. He is not a good guy. And it's like, he's just saying, I know you're angry, but this is the best way. And you hear this alarm start sounding in the background then. And one of the men comes and tells Papa that it's Sullivan. They found us. So meaning the military.
The actual military now has arrived.
This is the chopper and the Humvees. Like this is who's pulling up now. And they're putting explosives, probably C4 or something, on the door, and it is blowing it in. And they are then just having this insane shootout with Papa's men in the lab, and Papa is grabbing 11 and running off. And this is when Sullivan finds Owens handcuffed in the back room, and it's kind of like, oh, look what we have here.
As this entire season started with these guys. That's where this all started. These two.
That's right. When it looked like aliens were landing in Dr. Owen's lawn, that was Sullivan with his helicopter. That man loves a helicopter.
He sure does.
So, but we then see Papa on. So he has crawled up out of he's crawled up out of the ground, opened up like a manhole, and they're immediately the guys in the helicopter are immediately shooting at him, and he is falling to the ground. They're shooting him multiple times. They get him in the back. He drops 11 to the ground, but she still has her collar on, remember? But then we flash back down with Dr. Owens, and this is when Sullivan is, giving them the go-ahead to take down 11, because these guys are on a walkie-talkie with Sullivan, and Owens is overhearing this whole thing, and he's trying to convince him, don't do this. Do not do this. If I can sedate her, I can put her in a coma. And if the murders stop, then you can pull the plug on her. But guess what? They're not going to stop. She is actually our saving chance to fight this. Do not take the shot. But we see Sullivan on the walkie-talkie just saying, yep, take that shot. He does not care. And Owens is just screaming. He really tried. I feel like Owens really tried to protect 11 in this episode. Really appreciated that. I thought
he is more of an he's more of an actual father figure in this than Papa is.
Yes.
Because he wants to give her independence and have her make a choice. That being said, he's not the scientist. He's not the experiment person who is going to treat 11 or make 11 have these powers in the first place. So
and
they each had their role, but Papa didn't want to listen when it came time to have a result that he didn't like. And here we are.
Yeah. And then we have this moment where then we're back with the California boys, right? So
yeah,
before, and so it's like Argyle is pulling up and they're seeing 11 on the ground. They spot her from far away and, they're booking it over there. But before they can reach her, 11 is using all of her strength to take down this helicopter. And she is screaming like a hair metal singer from the 80s. And this helicopter is going crashing into the ground. It's like she's just sticking out her hand and forcing it down. And she has just complete control at this point. So you could tell her powers have really advanced.
It was very cool camera work too, because they showed the sniper having 11 in the sights and then reloading, waiting for the signal, got the signal, back down the sights. She's not there. And then he's like panning around with the scope, and then you see her through the scope, hand outstretched towards the chopper, and you're like, oh, man. It was
so good. It's happening. It's happening. Yeah, it was great. And the guys finally, in the pizza van make their way around to 11, and Mike is running to her, and they just have this great reunion. And while Argyle is freaking out, obviously, and
for reasons,
Jonathan,
as he should.
And Jonathan's kind of like, great that you guys are reconnected, but we got to get out of here. And Papa has then, you see, in one of his final moves, he unlocks her collar. Because remember, that's part of the thing. She's doing all this with the collar on, and
I don't.
Is it because he had to like signal something?
Yeah, I don't believe it was activated. Remember, with 2, he was like ramping up a decibel level, and I am of the belief that it was on but not active because there were no lights on it or anything like that. It was just there, so that he could do it if he needed to, and he didn't.
Yeah. Yes. Right. And so she unlocks it. And she goes to him, and he's saying that he's proud of her. He's saying that you're like my family, or you are my family, my child, and I've only ever wanted to protect you. He tells her that he needs her to tell him that she understands. And she's just looking at him. And there is this really, it's a great moment between the two of them because it's this, it's the final moment. Papa says, like, I don't know how many bullets in him. He's laying on the ground and, she had been holding his hand, but instead of really saying much of anything, she just lays his hand back down and says goodbye because she's looking back at the guys. She's like, this guy's not my family. That's my family.
No,
right?
But you could tell that it was even tough for her to decide that was the case because there is still part of her that, she had tears in her eyes, although she never cried. And she was trying to determine whether or not to give him that grace or not. It would have been very easy to say it, walk away, and never have to worry about it because he's not going to make it anyway. But she didn't. And I think that also shows a little bit of a ruthless streak with 11 now. Shows that she's not just going to say the nice thing to make it feel better.
That's right. And it's kind of, although I have heard lately that Stockholm syndrome is sort of like a debatable thing, like whether it actually is a thing or not. But to me, that's almost how I interpret something like this is, whether it's Stockholm syndrome or just because this is how she was raised, by this man, as horrible as it was. I think you're going to feel that connection there and it's letting go of your past, right? And so she's turning around and it's just like, yes, she knows what she needs to do and she is harnessing her true power. It's like Elle is then, they're back in the van, right? Because then it shows them in the van and she's telling them, we need to find a way to get back to Hawkins now, and they're realizing
Jonathan's
really
like,
far away.
That's 2,000 miles away. We can't make it tonight. She's like, we have to, or they're going to die.
Yes. And then you get the end of the episode, we get this epic Journey song, Worlds Apart, which is a great, great song in this moment. And we see the whole group, it's kind of panning across all their faces while they're in the RV, riding along in silence, I think just trying to mentally prepare.
Yeah, I wrote calm before the storm here. They're just all sitting quietly knowing what's about to happen. And the lighting was really cool in this scene too. I liked it. It was just a nice shot. It was a nice way to end the episode. They're pulling up to the Creel house and that's where we see Max, Lucas, and Erica getting out of the RV. And then the RV's gone. So we know their plan is to be in that house and then the rest of the group, well, we'll find out what happens. Well, I think as Dustin was saying, they're going to try to get to the Creel house on the other side. Yes. Because that's where Vecna should be. Because they know, and so they're like literally driving Max to the lair and saying, here, I'm right here. I am right here. Yes. We'll see what happens. And I do remember one epic scene in this. Oh yeah. There's a few. One of them's in the attic. That's right. That's the one. Oh, we'll get there. But as we said, we are going to break up the next episode into a 2-parter. So we look forward to talking about those with you guys pretty soon. Now we're going to jump into our IMDb segment of the podcast where we talk about our ratings on this episode versus yours as we found them on IMDb. And we're going to talk about our favorite and least favorite characters of the episode. Amanda, I told you before we started, in classic fashion, I have not come up with mine yet. And I just kept writing down names for people that I wanted to potentially put down here. And so I'll go first here because I've come to a determination. I had 2 people written down for least favorite character. Okay. One is Papa, for obvious reasons.
Yes.
The other is more of a season 4 lifetime achievement award that I have not handed out yet, but I have to at least once this season. And that is going to be to Jason. I'm not getting out of season 4 without getting him as a least favorite character at least once. And he didn't like him at all in this episode at all. He was wildly unlikable in this, incredibly aggressive towards Nancy. And in other episodes, I've seen things and said, okay, I can understand from his mindset why it would be this way. But this was just like unhinged is where he's at now. Papa, when it comes to Papa, I still see his side. I don't agree with it, but I understand where he's coming from at least. And while he had a lot of negative things that went down in this episode, there were a few things that I felt were worthy enough to let him off the hook, I suppose. Even though it is the episode named after him. Do you have a least favorite character?
Well, okay. I've been struggling a little bit with my favorite and least favorite in this episode. Although I actually changed my favorite a couple times.
Okay.
I will start off with my least as well. I did go with Papa. So I
figured you might.
Oh gosh.
How do you not, right?
This guy, it was just, he's really a great actor. Like, loved what he's very added good to the show. Yeah. And I love that he came back too, right? Because it was like, you kind of knew that he was going to come back. And I love just how like ominous he always is. And he's always just like, talking in this very like, I can't even do it. I'm not going to try, but either way, it was, it's good to see him on screen, but my God, like he is just, the things that he put 11 through and the fact that he just could not let her go and he couldn't just let her do her thing. You would think that everything that he's trained her for, it's like, this is now the moment. You know that she's not the problem. You know that she's the only hope in fixing the problem. The world could possibly end and you're stopping it. Like, not good. Not good at all.
Not good.
But also completely agree with the Jason choice. Now,
thank you.
I'm going to roll from my least into my favorite because it kind of parallels. I really loved Dr. Owens in this episode. So I'm going with him as my favorite. Love that he was the protector. He was really trying everything that he could to, now that he knew what 11 could do, he's like, let's get out of here. Let's book it. Like, we need to now fix the problem now that we know that you can do this, like you're ready. And I love the interaction between him and Sullivan at the end there. And I was a little bit worried that was going to be the end of Dr. Owens too. We don't see that yet, but we're left on a bit of a cliffhanger with where he's left off. But my runner-up was just 11. I mean, she's to me the obvious choice for favorite as well, but
I have many names written down here.
It's
I have both Dr. Owens and 11 written down.
Yeah.
I also have Will written down.
Mm-hmm.
I have Dustin written down because he's the one who comes up with the plan. I have Eddie written down for a lot of the little things that he did.
Yeah, the Eddie moments were great.
Mm-hmm. I have Steve written down too. Mostly,
Eric has the whole cast written down.
I don't. That's the end of the list. I have Steve written down for some of the things he did. It was specifically with Robin.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And I thought the moment with Nancy was good too. I am going to go with 11.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like there are episodes this season where it is 11's episode, and if it's not an 11 episode, then it becomes wide open. This was like the culminating moment. And the idea that 11 is able to choose that she wants to go and not be part of the prison, but then is kept in the prison anyway, then forces her way out, but then slapped back down. And when it all comes down to it, she gets to make the call on whether or not to give Papa sympathy on his deathbed and chooses not to. That is, there's a lot going on there. I think I would have gone with Will next, to be honest. I thought that speech was amazing. It was short, but like, It reminds me of the last few episodes where I feel like I've had Hopper in second every single episode because of this speech that he gives in the jail cell. But here we are. So I'm going to go with 11. And you're going to have Dr. O. We got 4 different characters represented.
I think your picks are my picks from last week.
Are they?
11 favorite.
11 and Jason?
I don't
you had Eddie and Max last week.
Oh, maybe it's the week before that then. Oh my goodness.
You picked 11 4 episodes ago. And you picked Jason, but you picked Jason as your least 3 episodes ago. In fact, that episode,
guys, it's all blending together.
Listen, I got it all right in front of me. The one that was called the Nina Project.
Okay.
That one, you and I both put 11 as our favorite character for, because if I remember correctly, the one before that was Dear Billy, which was awesome, did not have 11 in it at all, because she was on the way to the thing.
Yes.
And then we opened with 11 and learning about the Nina Project after that.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So as far as ratings, I will tell you my rating here. Now, last week, I gave The Massacre at Hawkins Lab a 10. I don't think I have another episode that will rival it. I think it is my favorite among all episodes. And so I'm just slapping a 10 on it and calling it a day, which made it a little bit more challenging to come up with a rating for this one. So I had to look back. The first episode of the season, The Hellfire Club, I gave that a 9. I gave Dear Billy a 9.3. I gave Vecna's Curse, which was episode 2, an 8.6. All 3 of those you gave at least 9s to. Yep. I am going to fit this one in like 3rd place of the 3 of those 4. So I'm going to give this an 8.8. Kind of slap it into the middle there. Not that this is that's it. First of all, one of the higher ratings on the season for me. At the same time, I do think it is a clear step back from last week's episode.
And
I want to
much went down.
And I'm going to tell you what, without even having rewatched the final episode yet, next week's going to be higher than an 8.8. I could almost guarantee it. Almost guarantee
even just the first part, do you think? Now we're going to have to break out the line.
Well, we'll have to discuss how we do these ratings for the next one, because this will throw a little bit of a wrench into our rating system, but we can figure that out.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, we'll have to maybe just talk about IMDb on the second weekend.
We'll figure that out. So what do you give this one? I have an 8.8.
I'm giving this one a 9.
Nice.
Just a solid 9. I gave the last week a 9.8. This one, I agree. It is it's not, I mean, listen, I love this episode. It was great. Yeah. There were a lot of mix between funny moments. The moment with 11 pulling down the helicopter is just epic.
Oh, huge.
Awesome.
Almost gave it a 9 just for that, but I decided to come.
Right. That's where I'm at.
I came down a little bit. I think it's just because all the other stuff, like the Hawkins gang and everything, it's all like getting ready. You know, there's less going on. It's just kind of preparing.
They always have those like sentimental moments in those episodes too, where it's like really just like them connecting. It's like, oh, just in case one of these people dies, you're gonna see them like tell each other how they love each other. That's kind of the way where mine might.
Let's get a moment with Steve and Nancy. Let's get one with Steve and Robin. Let's get Lucas and Max. Let's get Lucas and
this moment at
Erica.
the mall
Let's get
last
Dustin
season.
and Eddie. Let's get
Yes.
let's pair them all off, have them kind of say goodbye to each other, so you never know what's going to happen in the next one.
Last season, it was Hopper and Eleven and
Yeah.
Joyce and Will and
Hopper giving Mike hey, take care of her.
That's right.
Oh man, what
That's
are we
right.
doing? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what are the IMDb rankings
Okay.
for this episode?
So while you were giving yours, I wrote it down. The IMDb rating for this one is actually an 8.7.
Okay.
Which is
okay.
Which is great. First of all, an 8.7 makes it the third highest rated episode of the season.
This season,
Number one being last week's The Massacre at Hawkins Lab, then Dear Billy, then this one, Papa.
Yeah.
And I don't hate that order, but you and I gave the Hellfire Club first episode a 9 each, and the people gave it an 8.1. So we were much higher on the very first episode than most.
Yeah, we've been above the curve. I feel like this whole season, and that's all right.
Listen, I would expect us to be above the curve because there are plenty of people
We
that
usually
vote on IMDb that want to just try to tear it down. But there are also
those losers.
obviously plenty of people not doing that. And
Yeah.
before we go, I do have
Yeah.
to say, I want to go back in real quick and just mention this line that was mentioned by Dr. Owens, which I thought in one of the more tense moments where he's explaining to Eleven like how the fissures and the cracks in the thing break, and this is how you let the worlds collide, and then the pencil snaps. And Owens turns to him and says, where is it? I just lost it. It's right here somewhere. Let me check on my notes. Owen says, eased into it just like we talked about. Not ominous at all.
Yes.
I was like,
I know.
There you go. Thank you, Dr. Owens. And
That's what I'm saying.
it was-
dude,
it was-
drop the creep act.
Like,
oh my god.
it was just kind of enough of a line that made you chuckle to break the seriousness of what was going on. It was really
It
good.
was funny. It was like they were like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like I feel like, Papa's sitting there like slowly snapping a pencil, and it's like, what the hell? Like, can you tone it down, buddy?
Twisting it enough just so you can hear it all
God.
crack, and then snaps it right in her face, and she like blasts back, and he's like,
She,
dude,
like,
would you just
flinches.
chill out? My God, what are you doing?
We get it.
We
okay?
talked about this.
Yes. Love that.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. Please check out our socials on Instagram and YouTube, all the other social platforms that are out there. Subscribe, follow, share, like, repost, all the fun things that social media provides. Again, we have our full episodes on WeRunOnReruns.com, not to mention that you can follow them on Spotify. Please leave us 5 stars there if you could, and on Apple Podcasts. And for Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching the season finale of Stranger Things Season 4, Chapter 9, The Piggyback, for next week. At least part of it.
Yes.
Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.